In the shadows of the financial beating heart of London lies a local primary once set up in the post-war era, which now, 60-odd years later, finds itself along with 146 other schools in England grappling with troublesome concrete known as RAG. At the school gates, days into the new term, that's seemingly the only topic on parents' minds.
I don't think any school should be affected. Kids need to learn. They want children to go to school. So why should any school be affected?
Well, they should have been doing this years ago because they knew about 8 years ago anyway with all the schools. I mean, these was built in the 60s. My brother was one of the first people to go in this school. And I went in this school, so they knew about the concrete head.
Like here, they lost their assembly, so they can't, and in that hall they used to have food and they used to have assemblies for parents and for children, which they have lost for some time, and I don't know when they're going to find a solution for this.
Head teacher Tom Foster warned the Department for Education last year about structural concerns. Now he's had to put in quick short-term fixes he says aren't sustainable.
In terms of logistically, it is very difficult to give lunch. We have to use all of our staff, office staff, leadership team, be able to provide lunch in 3 different locations around the school. It's a drain on resources which should be used in other areas.
Okay, so this is our school hall. We had to close it from last Thursday.
The local MP, Apsama Begum, has come to see the impact herself, with the deputy head showing her around. With a high ratio of students who have special educational needs here, they've blocked off where they can't go.
So we've had to use bike ties to actually physically lock the hall off.
Just how widespread are you worried that it could be?
I mean, it definitely seems as though, it's not just school buildings that are impacted, and we're right to prioritise the health and safety of the most vulnerable people, including our children. But I am concerned that we are looking at this being potentially a watershed moment, in the same way that Grenfell and post Grenfell there was a watershed moment that should have been around the issues of cladding and unsafe buildings. So this is another opportunity for the government to really prioritise putting people's health and basic safety first.
Well, in this school, there's workarounds upon workarounds, but that doesn't necessarily make it easy. And also, as the head teacher told us, that's not going to hold long term. And there's another problem as well, and that's other buildings like social housing, like prisons and hospitals. What's the true scale of this concrete problem? In the race to find that out, a big roadblock has emerged. Today at the Public Accounts Committee, NHS England bosses admitted how difficult it is to get contractors to do the work.
Can I just be clear, are you fishing in the same pool? So you've got schools needing the surveying done?
Undoubtedly, look, it'll be the same firms. There is a limited number of these specialist engineers, so we will all be talking to the same firms. That has to be true.
Seven Mills Primary sits in contrast to the Canary Wharf high-rises from the late 80s, constructed after the widespread use of RAG. A school that was meant to be rebuilt in keeping with the area is still in its original form. With no date in sight for it to be fixed, the head teacher says it leaves parents, kids and teachers in limbo.